It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're ranking every perk on Ghostface to see how good it will be to play at the most optimal level, the most optimal perks you could bring on this character, just kind of ranking all of them based off of my experience playing Ghostface for as long as I have, with a very high win rate, currently about an 82-84% from the data I've been collecting. So about 84% win rate. Kill rate's about, I think, 75 or more. Still collecting data, of course, but I still wanted to get this video out for you guys that are curious on how to play this character in a sense, and understanding what perks would be the most effective, so that it would be just easier to know what would work and what you could save a little bit of time in that sense. And coming from a Ghostface main, right? So I'm gonna break them all down, try to give you guys a little bit of some rankings. We're starting it from all the way from S tier all the way to F tier, and S tier being like the most important perks to use, some of the best that you can use, and then F tier being the most useless you could possibly pick. And I'll try to give you guys an explanation, hopefully that it clears things up, and hopefully you guys can understand what the heck we're doing here today. So that being said, let's get into it. We're gonna begin with agitation first. So agitation, I would say, is more of like a sort of in between. I would say like maybe a B or a C tier. I would say probably like a C tier choice, because agitation in itself is a very good perk because it saves you a lot of time hooking. It can be used with backpack builds, which are more of a meme build, and I wouldn't say that's really the most optimal way to play the character per se, but I will say that it can save you a lot of time, especially if you are comparing it with other perks that involve hooking or picking up. And saving time on a character like this is going to be crucial, because he is a character that is quite slow. He is very weak, so you obviously want to try to cut corners wherever you can. If you could save a couple of seconds doing this thing or that thing, that could definitely give you a lot of benefits. And speaking of saving time, brutal strength I would consider pretty good. I mean, I would say like a B tier selection. It synergizes quite well with some of his add-ons. You can talk about basically the Olsen's wallet combination, because you can break the pallet faster, get right back to stalking a little bit sooner, which can at least help you get down a lot faster. Also can save you a lot of time when trying to deal with the markdowns and things like that. And having to get rid of those resources can be pretty beneficial. Obviously, if you're breaking it correctly, you're going to be able to get a lot of value from it. If you aren't, then obviously you may not get as much value as you could with brutal strength. Another perk we're going to talk about is disillusion. I would say one of the most useless perks on this character. There's a few in the game that are pretty useless with this perk on. One being Freddy, because you're I would say 80% of the time to 90% of the time with Freddy, you're not going to get any value, because if the survivors are falling asleep, they're oblivious, and therefore they're not in your terror radius, and then the disillusion will not activate. And the same thing applies to Ghostface, because if you are taking the time out to mark somebody and you're cloaking, they can't reveal you anyway, so hitting them will not only make them one shot, but also for the disillusion to activate, you needed to hit them in the first place for it to activate anyway. The next thing that it comes into play with Ghostface is if you're not using your marked ability, you're not getting exposed downs, then you're not really using the character's power. And at that point, you should not be using disillusion, even because of that. Because if you're feeling that like a reliance on disillusion because you're not getting any quicker downs, that means you got to lock in and get better with your character here, because disillusion shouldn't even give you any value if you're using this character to the best of your ability, which is to hit your markdowns. You stay cloaked because they can't reveal you, which can help you with chase, because if they can't see the red stain, it's gonna be a lot harder to track where you're going. So keep that in mind, obviously. Another perk I would say is like kind of useless would have to be dominance. Now, I wouldn't say it's completely useless, like entirely, where it's like if you're using it, it's like you get zero value, but it's in the sense that like, because it's to defend totems, you shouldn't really even be using totems on Ghostface, because he can't really defend them. If you are to use a totem build, you want them to sort of break them or have them applied to waste time or something like that, but you don't want to have it be something like like other hex perks like Ruin or Devour, which we'll rank those in a moment, because you can't really effectively defend them with your movement. Like, you're only a 115% movement speed killer compared to characters that can teleport, like Demogorgon, who can drop a portal on the actual totem, or even Trapper, who can put a bear trap at least to defend it. Like, you at least have something. But this dominance only activates once per totem, so like if they decide to touch the same totem again, it's just going to now get broken again. So completely pointless perk to use. I wouldn't even recommend it on Ghostface really at all. Another perk I would say is completely just like pointless on this character, but not completely useless, but still kind of pointless, would have to be Distressing. I wouldn't say at the level of F tier, but it's still kind of bad. Ghostface currently has a 24-meter tear radius, which was a recent buff that he did receive. And unfortunately, because he's a stealth killer, I don't think you want a larger tear radius. Tear radius is going to give survivors a lot of information of where you are and where you're going. Now, there is an argument that you could say that because you have Distressing on, you can make it seem like you're really closer than you really are, and then you can cloak. But with a character like this, I really don't recommend even having that as an option, because a lot of people will just pre-run, and then you end up losing a lot more distance regardless. So it's just, I wouldn't run it. Doesn't really seem like it has any point. Other characters have a lot more value from this. Distressing just simply is not going to cut it. So here's another perk we have here, which is Face the Darkness, that I put in the B tier. For this perk, I would say it's not too terrible. You can get a lot of value from it, because if you are playing Ghostface and you are using your abilities, a lot of the time you may not even be, like, you may find somebody who isn't marked and you just injure them anyway. And if they are injured, they will run off, and then obviously Face of Darkness can activate, and therefore it can give you a lot of info, because most of the time you're going to be undetectable. So it is a pretty good option. I wouldn't say it's like the most important perk in the game. I wouldn't say that it's going to do a lot, but it does provide pretty good info. It does have multiple times it can activate, and it does have a chance. I think if it's destroyed, then it obviously will deactivate, but when they heal, it turns off, and then you hit somebody again, it turns back on. So at least you have an option, without having to really worry too much about it. Okay, let's continue. So the next perk we're going to talk about, so we have Beast of Prey, which I think is also, I would consider a pretty pointless perk, in my opinion. Pretty terrible. I wouldn't recommend using it at all. It does make you undetectable, which is fine, but obviously, like, your base kit is literally using undetectable anyway, so there's no point. Like, you already have it in your base kit. I wouldn't waste my time with it. Thrill the Hunt, I would say, is like slightly better than Dominance in a sense, because it does slow down the amount of time it takes for them to cleanse. But still, like I've said, with Ghostface and totems, it just doesn't really go that well together because of his lack of ability to defend them. In a lot of ways, you would want to actually use a different perk that forces them to break it in order for them to get off of the gens for a bit. But I wouldn't say that like Thrill on its own is going to do a lot for you. It's usually paired with Hex totems, and like I've said, like, he just really struggles to defend them. So I would say you would just better off using other perks that have a lot more direct value for this character, because of his lack of mobility. So this, I like to call this perk Thunder Thighs, but with this perk, I would say it actually has some decent value. That's why I put it like a little bit more toward the B tier, because you actually can get a smidgen of value, and it provides essentially coup de grace without a gen needing to be completed if you just fall from some kind of high area. So it's not like it's going to completely win you games by any means. It's just nice to have somewhat, and when it works, it really does work, I would say. It could, honestly, you could put it into C or B tier, but because of the fact it's essentially coup de grace without it needing to take any tokens, really, it just activates. It's just nice to have, and I would say that if you can get it to work on certain maps, I mean, it could be pretty good. But I wouldn't go out of my way to putting it on if you have other perks that are a lot better. So superior anatomy, I think this is actually no, this is dark arrogance, my bad. So dark arrogance here, I would say honestly pretty good. They did buff it recently where the stun duration increase was reduced to 15% instead of the 25%, and you're vaulting 25% faster. So it is a pretty good perk to have on Ghostface, and it doesn't require you to get any tokens or activate anything, and you just have it. And ideally you want to avoid getting stunned with this perk because obviously it makes the stun even longer. But if you're able to avoid stuns, and you can essentially just vault really fast, which can be very good for a character like Ghostface who does lack a lot of chase potential. So having perks that can allow you to do that, I mean, would be pretty good to have. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. Pretty good. You know, pretty nice perk to have, I gotta say. You know, nothing wrong with it. Now, this is a bit of a controversial pick, obviously, and I argue that this is like Nurse's Calling. You already know, everybody loves putting this on Ghostface, and I really have no idea what they're talking about. To this day, I mean, even since I started playing the game, which was around when the tome had dropped, is when I really got into the Ghostface heavily. And even back then, we're hearing, "Oh, Nurse's Calling. You gotta use it on everybody. Every Ghostface needs to use this." And it's like it's a snake oil salesman thing. Because, like I've stated many a times, like so many times, I feel like I have to bring this up. But Nurse's Calling is just such a pointless perk on this character. Like I've said so many times, and I'm gonna get into the other perks that are included with Nurse's Calling that I want to really have. I have a bone to pick, specifically. And if anything, I should have talked about Nurse's Calling sooner. But you know, that's besides the point. Nurse's Calling is completely pointless on Ghostface. I've said this so many times. You're essentially getting aura reading for them healing, but Ghostface is slow. He's not going to be able to intercept the heal. So you're just kind of watching them through the wall heal, like, okay, cool. And then when they stop healing, it's not like you're going to know where they're going to go, because there's no lingering aura when they finish healing. So you can just see where they're healing, know where they are, and then you can't do anything about it. Kind of pointless. So that already just is terrible. Secondly, this character moves slow. So like, how many times are you really going to see somebody healing with this character? He doesn't run. He doesn't have a teleport, a dash. He can't run fast. He doesn't have anything. So like, what makes, like, I don't understand why we're still talking about Nurse's Calling. Like, it's so pointless. Like, you're better off with other perks. Like, there's other perks that are just gonna give you more value just from the sheer existing. And mind you, we only have 4 slots in our builds. Like, how many? Like, we need to make sure these perks do something, especially on Ghostface, because come on now, he's a weak killer. Like, you need to give him anything, like any advantage he can get, he needs to be able to take advantage of. Oh yeah. All right, one of my, like, now switching over to coup de grace. Coup or coup or whatever you want to call it is arguably one of the strongest perks on Ghostface, like one of the best perks on Ghostface. Mind you, I used to be an anti-coup player. I was really against it for a long time because I just didn't like having to like sort of not lunge when I needed to and have to hold on to it. But I never really understood how to really get a lot of value until recently, because of the fact that I've completely shifted, I would say, how I play Ghostface now compared to how I used to play. And I gotta say, I definitely am better off, like, because of that. And maybe I'll release a Ghostface guide at some point, but this is mainly to at least give you guys a little bit of an idea of what perks work. And we'll just get into it, obviously. So with coup is going to save you, or coup is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to extend your lunge by 80%. You get 2 tokens every gen that gets done, and you know these gens are going to be flying anyway. Like, they're flying at the speed of light. At least get some tokens. You know what I mean? So with coup, Oh yeah, like you're like the amount of downs that you can get because of this perk's existence is so crazy. Like it literally will save so much time in chase. It's actually insane. Arguably one of the best perks for this killer, for chase build, for speed, haste, or whatever you want to call it. Any build you probably will get value out of Ku, because if you're using Ghostface optimally, you're going to be marking people. You're going to be having them one shot anyway, so you can essentially get 2 downs for 1 gen getting done. That's insane. You can get so much value. And if you're combining it with other perks that I'm going to mention, you're gonna get a lot of value from this perk. Like, it's going to be one of the best perks for you. Unironically, one of the best selected perks in this game for this character. Like, so good, so good. Next, we're gonna talk about colorophobia. I would say completely pointless. So colorophobia basically makes survivors heal slower while within your terror radius, but this is a character that goes undetectable all the time. So what value are you going to get from an anti-heal you know, in your terror radius if you're constantly cloaked? Like, you're undetectable, they don't hear you, they're not in your terror radius because you don't have one. The other part of it is that it has to do with anti-heal, and Ghostface doesn't need anti-heal. Like, his entire ability is to make people one hit to down. So if they waste time healing, it's irrelevant because you'll just mark them and then they'll be one shot again. And if you're marking everybody like you should be, this is irrelevant. Like, you're not going to need anti-heal on this character. Yeah, this perk, I would say, goes without saying, is pretty pointless. I think it's Bloodhound. It basically makes the blood drops like more bright. Pretty much pointless on a vast majority of killers. I don't think it's really has any use for I think almost any killer. So this is just an obvious selection here. The next one is we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about Awakened Awareness. Awakened Awareness is like so useless, but it's not so bad that you can't use it. Like, there's some situations, especially if you pair it with agitation, where you can see them while they're on your shoulder. Like, you can be carrying somebody to a hook and maybe you'll see somebody walking around, and I mean, hey, I guess you get a little info, I guess, but like that only applies if you're carrying people. So how often are you going to be doing that? I mean, and how often are you going to be needing to see people while they're on your shoulder? Pretty much like non-existent. There's really no reason to run Awakened Awareness, but it does have some decent value if you decide to run it, because at least it's some info, but it's still pretty pointless. Like, you're really not gonna need it. I mean, you got 4 slots and you're gonna waste it on Awakened Awareness with a weak killer. I wouldn't waste my time. Let's talk about Bitter Murmur is an interesting one. I would say this one's like pretty decent. I'd say maybe A tier a little bit. So Bitter Murmur, I wouldn't say like is going to change your build by any means, but it's free info when a gen gets done. You get aura reading on everybody in the match when a gen gets done. Now, would I run this perk over anything else? No. But if I was just running this perk by itself, I would say it's going to give me some value. Like, that's aura reading for free. You don't have to do anything to get it. They just finish a gen, you're getting a free aura reading, and you can use that to set up stocks. You could use that to get info, to start a chase, to know where everyone is, to set up. Like, there's a lot of different uses that Bitter Murmur could have. And I wouldn't say it's like you're gonna like you pick it over another perk, but if you had it on your own, like say you only had 1 perk and you're like, well, all right, let me just put this on, you're gonna at least get something. And at least it doesn't require you to have a lot of input to get it to work, which is nice. Deerstalker, I would say, I think has improved quite a bit, but I'm gonna probably drop it over to C tier because I don't think it's really that crazy what it does now, which I don't even remember what it even does right now, and it probably because it's just pointless. You don't even need it on this character, like I've probably have stated. And yeah, I mean, it's just pretty pointless. I mean, I don't really see I don't even remember what it does, but I just do know that you most likely don't need it. You have other perks that are just going to give you a lot more value. And I might even bring down Bitter Murmur because of that, but regardless. Dragon's Grip. Dragon's Grip is kind of like a eh. Dragon's Grip is an interesting perk because if you kick a gen, it's going to make them exposed for 60 seconds, which is essentially marking them without having to mark. And by itself is pretty okay. Like, it can essentially save you a down if you're, in the area. You have base kit undetectable, right? Within your kit. So you can essentially kick a gen, go cloak up, walk off somewhere, they yell, you can come back and they're exposed for a full minute without you having to mark them, which is all right. Like, you're not gonna probably like lose your mind over it, but like, hey, you're like, hey, it's nice, it can be pretty decent. The thing is though, is that your ability literally marks them anyway, so like in some situations they probably already 99, so you're like, well, I mean, like, why am I even using this? Like, you can just use my power and it'll do the same exact thing. So it's a bit niche. It's not like super amazing. It's not going to do anything by itself. Maybe you could pair it with something, but it's like, it's really just kind of better on other killers that don't have stealth in their kits and don't really have the capability to make people one shot regardless. So let's continue. Next is Cruel Limits. I think it's called Cruel Limits or Claustrophobia now, and I would say like it's kind of also in the C tier. Like, if you are able to get a gen to activate while you're in chase and then everything's blocked, like windows are blocked all around the map and things like that, I mean, yeah, like that could probably get you a down. The problem is though, is that if you do find somebody, and it does happen, either they can vault a pallet and then lie the way, or have another exhaustion perk, and then the timer for this perk will run out immediately because you won't be able to find them in time. Or it activates, but you're not in chase, so you're just like, by the time you find somebody, it deactivates, and then you just have the perk did nothing. So you're like, so it's a pretty pointless perk. I would say that if you get it to work, solid, great, love that. But if it doesn't, which is most of the time, you're not even gonna notice you even have it. Like, it's pointless. You'll see the little like yellow squares on your screen, like, oh cool, it's blocking the stuff, but then it's like no one is near you to even get value from it most of the time. All right, let's talk about this one. This one is all right. So Darkness Revealed is okay. I mean, Darkness Revealed, you can open a locker, get some aura, but it's only around other lockers, I think. So it's like very like situational. I wouldn't say it's like horrible where it's like you're never gonna see value, because depending on the map, you could get like way more aura reading than you thought you would. But it's not a perk I'm gonna like run to and be like, yeah, this is great. Like, I love this perk. Like, no, it's like, if it works, it does a good job. If you're not really near any lockers, like or they're not near any lockers, you're just really not going to get too much value. But with the addition of like more lockers nowadays with the current patch, you might get more value than before. But that's why we leave it in B tier, because it's not completely pointless. You will, and info is good on a character like this because you want to get your markdowns, you want to set up, you want to do those things. So like that inevitably, I mean, why not, right? Barbecue. Yes, barbecue. I kind of want to put this more into like the C. I don't want to put it in D and F, but like it's kind of like a C tier choice in my opinion. Because of the fact that sure, you're getting aura reading, but this is also a slow moving character, so like you can see where they are, sure, for like a couple seconds, but at the same time you can't really do anything about it, because like if you're playing, say, Billy, you're like, oh, okay, cool, aura, I'm over there, boom, start chase. With Ghostface, it's like you hook him, you look at him like, oh, okay, and then you just turn around and do something else because you can't catch up to them. Like, you're not gonna like immediately be on them and like right when you see their aura. Like, so it's kind of like, okay, you get info, but just like you're not really gonna do anything with that information, really. Like, there's other perks that are gonna do that, but just easier than having to get a full down for that. Alien Instinct. Okay, Alien Instinct, like, it's kind of mid. I put Alien Instinct in D tier because like this is a perk that requires you to like it's like, it's okay, right? Like, it basically relies on the fact that they are going to be injured on a consistent basis enough to where you're getting aura on like the furthest injured survivor from you. So it's like barbecue, but just injured version. And it's like, okay, like, all right, like that's fine, but it's like, it's not like you're going to like pick it over something else. Like there's other perks I would say that will give you actually no, let me not put it in D tier then. I would say it's like C. It's like, it's not like it's completely bad, but like considering healing meta right now and considering the fact that anything involving them being injured is kind of irrelevant because you're playing a character that can make them one shot anyway. So if they're healing, just start stalking them. Like if they're trying to heal under hook, and if you're like too far, start stalking. Like if they're full health, stalk them. Like, you know, like no matter what health state they're in, like they're gonna be one shot regardless. So like if you're injured already, one shot. If you mark them, one shot. Like you're like, the whole point, at least when I'm playing this character, is trying to minimize the amount of hits I need to take to down people, because that's his biggest strength. And if you can do that, it'll make things a lot easier for you. So if you can do that, I mean, then Alien Instinct might fall a little bit behind. Now, is it completely bad? Like, can you use it and it get some value? I mean, of course you can. It's not awful, but it's like, I wouldn't pick it over other perks. And you're just gonna get and it does require them to kind of not heal for you to be able to get the aura. So like, I would say it's I would say it's like a high C, low B, if that was like in this ranking, but I'm not doing that right now. So let's continue. Now we're going to select. I'm trying to pick them at random so we can have like different things to talk about. Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk about this one. Yeah, this perk right here, I already forgot what the hell it was called. Insidious. I mean, his base kit is undetectable. You really don't need it. I mean, you know, like regardless of the cooldown being like 17 seconds currently, you know, for his undetectable, still pointless. I mean, in what situation are you gonna need that? Like, it's just pretty bad. I don't think it's really that useful, even with the buff to make it like a second to get undetectable. Like, it's still pretty bad. Like, I don't think you're gonna need it. Like, you're just better off. All right, let's talk about what's a fun one? It's a fun one. I want to talk about a fun perk. All right, let's go with Phantom Fear this time. Phantom Fear, I would say, is also a completely pointless perk. Like, this is a perk that requires them to be in your terror radius and also looking at you, if I'm not mistaken, which means that you're just simply not going to get any value from it on Ghostface in most cases. And even if for whatever reason that they see you and you're undetectable, they'll reveal you and they won't yell anyway, so that just doesn't, and it doesn't really matter because of the killer instinct, so you still know where they are. And obviously with this character, you don't want to be revealed regardless, because you kind of, you know, need it to make people exposed. So there is really no scenario where Phantom Fear is going to give you any value in this character. It just simply is too reliant on terror radius, and it's simply just not that great. I would say that you will probably never get value unless you deliberately walk around without undetectable, which is kind of a waste, unless you have the right build for it. So it's kind of terrible. All right, so let's talk about, what's a fun one? Oh yeah, Sloppy. This is another one that people love talking about, and I have to say, like, it's very bad. Not F tier bad, but still pretty bad. Now, Sloppy, oh man, it's such a controversial thing. I feel like everybody's the same thing with nurses. They're like, oh, you gotta run nurses, you gotta run Sloppy. Like, no, you don't. Like, stop lying to people. And I'm sick of hearing it, because it's like I feel like people are misinforming like a lot of Ghostface players. Like, I think that a video like this should be for those people that really want to learn and understand the character better, and understanding that Sloppy is going to be completely god awful is going to help you out in the long run. As I've stated many times, this character is one that makes it so they're exposed, which requires one hit to down them, which is his biggest strength. If you're taking the time out to slap everybody around and keeping them all injured all the time, everybody is basically running insta heals at this point, at least at the high level, right? And that's only this where I can kind of speak from. Obviously, that is something that I should have prefaced earlier. But speaking from an optimal standpoint, the high level, you know, going against people that are healing very fast or bringing syringes or trying to, you know, in swifts and things like that. Like Sloppy's just not going to do a lot. Like they already nerfed it, right? So it's like way weaker. It has an 80 second cooldown, or status effect, I should say. And so when they get hooked, it's just it's draining. Like the second you hit them, it's already it applies it and then starts draining. So when they're running, it's decreasing, and then when they get on hook, it's also decreasing. So by the time they actually get on the hook, like it'll or get off the hook rather, it will have lost most of its progress. Or people have perks that can out heal Sloppy's effects, because if like Sloppy's effect is hemorrhage and mangled. Hemorrhage meaning that if they stop healing, it regresses, and mangled meaning that they heal 25% slower. They have perks like botany knowledge with no downsides, right? Like there is no like 20% decreased healing efficiency or anything on it, right? For medkits, they removed that. So we'll make it exist 100%. So that means that with Sloppy, 75%, still fast. Resurgence exists, 70% healing progress, pointless. Combine those, insta heal. Syringes exist, like med kits exist, like they can just wait it out. Vigil exists, like they have a 66% decrease in status effects. Vigil exists. Sloppy's once again thrown in the garbage. Like, what situation is that going to help you? Like, and I have to say, if you're trying to hit and run with Ghostface, like you're not using the character to the best of his ability, because a character that does thrive on hit and run is Wraith. Like that is one of the best at hit and run. One of the best, because he does not have to deal with any cloaking. He runs really fast when he's in cloak, and he can interrupt heals just by proxy because of the fact that he has a bell. So when you fly up to them and then you start go boom boom boom, they're already gonna let go of the heal because they don't want to get slapped. And then add a cloak, you're getting a free coup, which not a lot of people use for some reason, but there is an extended lunge you can get out of cloak. So it's like, why would you waste your time using it on Ghostface when he's a character that is slow, makes them exposed anyway? Like, but they're like, and then if they're healing, you see them, you can 99 them both, so you don't. So their heal would have been made pointless. I've had so many matches where I see somebody like 99 their heal and they try to like run up, and then like healing your face or something like that. I've always seen that too. They try to 99 their heal and then healing your face, like, oh, I got him, and then I'm like, okay, mark, like boom, and then they just get one shot, and I'm like, yeah, nice, like nice try. You know what I mean? It's like, why even waste your time with Sloppy, bro? Like you that perk slot could be dedicated to something better, like brutal strength or superior anatomy or coup or any other perks that have a lot more value than this thing. Okay, next perk we're gonna talk about is a Ghostface perk. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Well, it's alright. Like, I wouldn't say it's useful on Ghostface himself. I mean, you're getting aura reading if they vault things. There's an add-on that for Ghostface that does the same thing, but like, okay, I guess. Like, you can get some value, like you can see where they're going, I guess. If you need that information. And aura in general is good on this character for the most part. It depends on the form of the aura. Like, if it's like aura when they vault something, it's like, okay, I guess. I mean, if you have eyesight, you can probably keep up. But I guess if you know, but aura 2 is okay. You know, definitely not super effective on this character, but you know, it's all right. You know, we can put it on, and it'll show you where they're going, I guess, as if but it's not like you're gonna need it by any means. The next one we're gonna talk about is Grim Embrace. Oh yeah, Grim Embrace. Oh boy, this is another one I hear a lot. This is just a really bad perk. Yeah, Grim Embrace is another like horrible perk. I always hear everybody recommend it, but every time I've used it, it's just completely pointless. And it's probably because I'm using it on Ghostface. Like, it's not completely garbage where it's like, don't even use it. But like, if you do use it, your value is so minimal that it's like, it's trash. Like, Grim Embrace will give you 10 seconds Let me say that again, actually. 10 seconds of blocking all the gens. And then it deactivates for every brand new hook. Now, this is the same character that already struggles in chase. This is the same character that doesn't run fast. This is the same character that is considered one of the lowest tiers in the game. And we're trying to apply Grim Embrace, which is completely pointless on a character with no map mobility. 10 seconds of blocking the gen is really ineffective, because as much as survivors have complained about Grim Embrace, whenever I've actually gone against Grim Embrace, it was like so not even noticeable. It was crazy. I'm like, 10 seconds, really? Like are we really sweating 10 seconds? These people are so slow. Like a lot of these killers that you could think of that would use this would have to be fast moving, because most survivors can just crouch next to the gen out of sight and just wait the 10 seconds. And mind you, the timer is running regardless of what he does. Like if he goes out of range of the hook, okay, cool, 10 seconds, and they can just wait like 10 seconds. Like it's pointless. Like what is, like 10 seconds is so fast. Like, and a character like this, like, come on, man, he moves so slow. Like you're not gonna get any like actual value, let alone the fact that you have to get brand new hooks to make it work. This is a character that needs to use all the strategies that you possibly can to get the most amount of value. So using this is just completely terrible. Why would you do that? You're wasting a perk slot. Let's talk about this goes without saying. Huntress Lullaby is the totem, and it sucks. I mean, it has to do with skill checks. Ghostface has nothing to do with skill checks. He has nothing for that, and Huntress Lullaby constantly gets insta cleansed, and it's terrible. And I wouldn't use it on Ghostface. Do not do that. Please don't. Okay, let's talk about Force Penance. Force Penance. It's kind of like a C. I did actually recently use Force Penance out of curiosity because I know it's pretty good on Pig. But it just really didn't work that well on Ghostface. I mean, I've tried using it. It can be quite effective, like if you're trying to get somebody out of the game as soon as possible. Like obviously they call it tunneling, but you kind of have to with this character being as low tier as he is. Being as low tier as this character is, you kind of want to use it. Like, yeah, like it's all right. Like, but like I've said, like anti-heal is really irrelevant for this character. I wouldn't say it's like completely pointless because you can get value, but it's like, like I guess like it really doesn't matter. I mean, because I've just like if you're playing Ghostface like, you know, the right way, you can just 99 them, and then if they body block, you just one shot down them, and then they're out of your way. So kind of pointless. I wouldn't use that one. Let's try Force Hesitation is like it's like kind of meh. Like it's not that great. Like I would like Force Hesitation is like a perk where like I've used it on sort of around like the like Bone Chill events for like my Ice Ghostface builds for fun. But it can get you an M1 if they're close enough, I guess, but like it's not going to necessarily get you like a markdown, you know, chained or anything like that, because if you are getting a down on somebody, there's two things that could have happened. One, you were cloaked and chasing a marked survivor, which then you down them. Force hesitation activates, and then you're going to get, oh cool, you get some info. Or not info, rather you get like hindered or whatever, and that's cool, that's fine, but then how else are we going to continue from that, right? Like the most you're gonna get is what, an M1? Like that's okay, but then your power's on cooldown at that point, right? Let's say for example we try, oh I don't know, like say they were already injured and you got the down. Well, if you try to mark the person that's like hindered, you might either take too long, or the person on the ground will reveal you, and then you still won't get value. So it's not as bad as Grim Embrace, or other like more meh perks, but it's still kind of like like you're really not gonna notice that much of it. It's like okay enough free hit, sure, but like it's not going to really change the game by any means. Let's talk about, ooh, yes. Okay, this one's a fun one. So fire up, I gotta say, is a very fun perk and very useful, I would say. One of my personal favorites, honestly. I would actually put it a little bit closer to Dark Arrogance because it is very good. Like these two are very good. Fire up to me, I would say, is like one of the best perks in the game. Like you're getting rewarded for the gens flying, which are going to fly anyway. They're guaranteed to fly, especially with this character. So you're getting a stack essentially to break stuff faster, vault stuff faster, pick up faster, drop faster. Like you're buffing every stat basically. And that's good. Like the amount of times you can get, like you can vault a window with fire up and get a little bit more distance that you probably wouldn't have can really make the difference. It's very nice to have, especially if you paired it with other perks. I've actually had a build like that where I've used brutal strength and I've used fire up and other stuff like that. And it can be quite fun to just like shred pallets or just vault faster or other things like that. And it's just nice to do. It makes the character feel a little bit nicer. It's okay. Like, but it's still just one of my personal favorite perks that I've used on almost all my mains, I think, at this point. It's so fun to have. So it's a personal favorite of mine. I like it a lot. I think it's great. You can apply it to many different M1s and you can probably get some pretty good value from it. So nice, I gotta say. But I feel like it's one of those perks you kind of have to pair with other ones, but it's still pretty good. All right, let's talk about what is this one? Game of Foot? Yeah, no, this is kind of meh. Game of Foot is kind of mid. I wouldn't say like, I mean, even worse than mid actually, because like, what is the purpose? Like, if you hit somebody with the most chase time, they become the obsession, so then you can break pallets faster while chasing the obsession. Like, okay, I guess. Like, what is that gonna do for you, right? And it's like, it's one of the weaker obsession swapping perks. Pretty pointless. Like I guess, like, it really just depends on your build, but even then, it's like, it only just switches the obsession when you hit them when they have the most chase time, which is, like, okay. like, I guess, like, it's really not going to do the lot for you. Like, maybe you could, like, pair it with Save the Best for Last, but that's gonna be the next one I'll talk about in a moment. But that's for other characters, not Ghostface. All right, where is Save the Best? I need to talk about Save the Best for Last because boy, oh boy, like there is a lot to talk about with this perk, man. There is way too much to talk about with this perk. Save the Best for Last. Boy, another one that I see a lot of with Ghostface, and I have to talk about it because it's a perk that I've used extensively when playing Ghostface, and it just does not give you a lot of value. And the reason for that is two things. If you are getting a lot of stacks, you're probably not marking. And then if you are doing a lot of marking, then that means you're not getting a lot of stacks. So you're kind of screwed if you do, screwed if you don't. Because this is a character that, in general, requires you to get one hit to down someone. Which means that you're not getting 2 stacks, you're getting 1. So that halves your stacks by at least 50% every single time if you're using your power. Now, if you're not using your power and you're getting a bunch of stacks, then it's like, why are we playing Ghostface? Why don't we use like Freddy or Clown or other characters that can, or Pig, that can have stealth like Pig, or have options to help you in chase, and also gives you an additional bonus for playing them with Save the Best for Last. Like, that makes the most sense. Like, I understand that using a chase perk on Ghostface makes sense because you kind of need it, and that's why Superior Anatomy and even Coup is up there on S to A. But Save the Best for Last, it's like it's either feast or famine with Save the Best for Last, because you're only gaining like 1 stack if you're getting a down with 1 hit, or you're gaining 2 but you're taking 2 hits to down. So both ways, like you're kind of not really being optimal in a lot of ways, and that's mainly what the tier list is for, is really showing off what is the most optimal possible perks to bring on this character, and then ranging from the most optimal and the strongest all the way to the weakest. And save the best for last is, in my opinion, always going to fall flat. It just always will, because you're just like, it's just the sheer fact of how his power functions, and it's just simply not effective to take so much time to have to down people. And touching on that, let's also look for Rapid, because I want to quickly get that one out the way as well, because Rapid is another one. If I could find it. The hell is Rapid, bro? Yeah, there's so many perks. If I can find it. Okay, I'm not gonna waste too much time. I'm just gonna quickly just jump to a new perk, but we'll get to Rapid in a moment. Discordance, I would say, put that into B tier. Pretty good info. You can see when two people are on a gen at the same time, so you can probably get like driver's license value. I highly recommend it for that. I wouldn't put it all the way in A tier, because if they don't actually pair up on the gen, you won't see any value from it. So it's kind of like less useful than other info perks, but not as bad as like barbecue, or as bad, because you, at least if you know that if there's two people on a gen, you can potentially mark someone, compared to barbecue where like you will have zero value, for example. And obviously if you are seeing or like even like I'm all ears, like if you're in chase, at least you can see where they're going and kind of make a play from that. Like that to me is more valuable. And Discordance kind of falls in between that, where it's like it's valuable enough to have info, and you potentially could get value if you use driver's license, for example, which could be pretty good. But I wouldn't say it's like at the top level of like what you should be bringing on the character. But if you decide to bring it, it's not bad. I would put it actually right next to Brutal Strength in terms of how good it is, because like these two are pretty solid in comparison, I would say. Which with that logic, let me maybe move over these to over here, because like out of the, well, there we go. So out of the most useless, I would say, you know, like we kind of organize it in the right way. I would say F tier. I mean, it doesn't matter how you order it, it's still going to be bad. D tier is like pretty useless, but you can get some value depending on the order, and then there you go. All that seems to be fine. Okay, next. Let's talk about Undying. Undying, I would say it's kind of like mid. Like it depends on your choice of totem. Undying by itself is obviously going to be useless, but if you decide to bring Undying with a totem, you know, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is useful if it lasts, and that's what Undying is kind of for. So not bad. Not bad at all. I would probably move it right next to these, like these perks. They're pretty good, and then it goes all the way to bad from there. So yeah, it's a little bit organized. Let's quickly touch on crowd control. Crowd control is a little bit of a fun one, I gotta say. It's a bit of a fun choice. Crowd control is a little bit more fun, I would say, because if they decide to vault a pallet or anything like that, not a pallet, a window, it blocks them. So you could block like 5, and then I think you can they continue to block other windows while it's still active. And it's pretty nice. Like it's sort of like having cruel limits, but just better in a totem form, which I mean, it's still a totem, so that's what hinders it. But if by some chance that you can get some value from it, I would say that's good. That's pretty nice. Let's go into something I would recommend as one of the best perks in the game for this character. Corrupt Intervention. Goes without saying, Ghostface is a setup killer. You need slowdown, obviously, with this character. Coup de Grace is a mainstay on every Ghostface build I've ever used in order to actually win my games. One of the best, I would say, arguably. For early game slowdown, early game marks, things like that. Always super effective. Bamboozle, I would say, well, we'll put it in A tier. It's good chase perk, always effective, going to help you with chase. Batteries included. Not gonna lie, S tier. Pretty good. Having 5% haste is always gonna be so effective. It's so good. Like, having that is so good. Deadlock as well. Yep. Deadlock, another one that I always use. Right here. Fantastic perk. It's always good to have passive slowdown on a character like this so you can focus on getting downs marks and just trying to get pressure, because having to worry about you not having your slowdown is going to always hurt you, especially with this character, because if you can't get, if it's always how it works with a lot of slowdown with this with the killers, is like you need to actually get downs, and if you're struggling to get downs, you're just, it's going to be really bad for a character like Ghostface. So at least if you have passive, you'll get value automatically. You won't have to worry about it. Oh yeah, Mindbreaker, nah, Mindbreaker has completely fallen off. I know that like Mindbreaker was another perk that people were constantly trying to rep when talking about Ghostface, and it has completely fallen out of the meta entirely, especially with the addition of Ghost Notes, especially with the buff of Vigil. Vigil with Ghost Notes is 76% recovery speed from exhaustion, and then of course Mindbreaker is 5 seconds of exhaustion. So you can only imagine that with all of that on, they're never going to be exhausted ever. So having a perk that's dedicated to doing that, besides the fact that if they even catch a sight of you, they'll let go of the gen early to reduce the blindness, to reduce the exhaustion. They don't care. Like the survivors will not even care about that perk. So I would not run that. Oh yes, enduring. I would put that actually more so in the A tier now. I used to run Enduring and also Spirit Fury together, which I'm gonna put that in there as well if I find it. Rich is right here. Spirit Fury, this was my go-to build. Basically, I would run Corrupt, Deadlock, and then obviously this combo, which is like one of my combos I've used since I started playing the character, and I've been using it up until recently. Where I've been kind of shifting away from that and shifting my playstyle. But for a character that can one-shot, using Spirit Fury Enduring is going to be super effective. Obviously, it's sort of like effective dependent on the user of that combo, because I do see a lot of people like are just really not understanding how to properly utilize Spirit Fury Enduring to the maximum, capability. Because like Spirit Fury Enduring's biggest strength is the fact that they don't know you have it. So the fact that you can just pop it on somebody who already is exposed is going to save you so much time, because you're shredding pallets, and then on top of that, you're getting your down very, very fast. And it can be paired quite well with Olsen's Wallet, and obviously it goes without saying, it's a fantastic combo. Now, is it the best combo? Probably not. I would say that there's perks that are even better than that. Let's talk about Dark Devotion. Dark Devotion is kind of like, all right, I guess. I would have put it in D tier, but because of the fact that you can apply a terror radius to a survivor, could obviously add a little bit more of a fear factor and provide a little bit of undetectable without having to actually use your power. But still, it's still not going to be that crazy. Blood Echo, kind of meh. Like I've said many times with the anti-heal, just kind of pointless. You really don't need it. Blood Warden is kind of terrible on Ghostface, because you should not be trying to strive for the end game with this character. He struggles very, 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 very badly in a lot of situations like that, so I would not recommend it. Third Seal, no, that's just trash. I'm sorry. Like Hex Third Seal's trash. You're never gonna get value from that. What's another one? Let's go through some totems then. Let's this is Retribution. Retribution is alright. I mean, you get aura if they break hexes, but I mean, like, but if your hex is broken, you kind of lost all its value. So like, it's like, well, like, all right, I guess. Blood Favor, I would consider it like a C tier. Blood Favor, like, if you can get it to work, I mean, sure, but in most cases, like I've said, if they're exposed, you're not going to get any value, because you need to, go around and actually hit them twice. which is suboptimal for this character. However, if you are able to get an M1, it might be able to cut down on your chases if it stays up, which isn't guaranteed. Dark Fate, oh yeah, this is trash. Like, you don't need that. I don't even need to explain why that perk is trash. Just don't use it. It's pointless. Oh yeah, this perk sucks too. This one has to do with like skill checks. Don't use this. I think it's called Undone or something useless. Shadowborn, nah, I mean, maybe I'll put it in D tier only because sometimes it could be kind of useful, but I don't, nah, drop it to F. I don't, the value you get from it is so small because you're like, you need to get blinded, and I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are struggling when they get blinded for some reason. Strider is like D tier. Like, having them be louder could be helpful for people with headphones, which is how I would always recommend playing DBD, but you know, either way, it's good to have. You know, it's good info without you having to do anything besides injure them. That's perfectly fine. Surveillance, I would say, is an A tier perk. I mean, having info on knowing when the gen stops regressing, especially if you pair it with pain res or surge or ruin, is good to have. Like, why not? That's always a good selection. Very good for information, sneaking up on people, stuff like that. Very good information. You always want that. Hysteria, useless. I don't have to explain that. It just makes them oblivious, and which, if it has to be said, if you guys really need an explanation for Hysteria, obliviousness really is ineffective on Ghostface. Like I've said, it basically means that they can't hear your terror radius, but you still have the red stain when you are around them. So it's just going to be ineffective on a character that his entire ability is about stealth. So like, you're really not going to get a lot of value from that. Iron Maiden, same thing, just no point in using that. Border, same thing, no point in using that. Let's see, what else is here is like pretty. Hangman's Trick, no, like, you don't need that, it's pointless. Oh, I think it's Overwhelming Presence. You're not going to get any value because you're always undetectable for the most part. Shattered Hope is still useless. You don't need that either. Let's see what else we have here. No Quarter is also pretty bad. Anything that has to do with skill checks, like that forces people to have skill checks on certain things, are just not super effective on this character. Mad Grit, I would say D tier. Not that great on this character. You know, it's a meme build at the end of the day if you decide to run like Mad Grit with everything else, and it's like kind of meh. Machine Learning, arguably one of the stronger perks for Ghostface. Like, having it used to be way better back before the nerf. Now it's like 7%. It used to be 10% was so beautiful. Like, I felt like Ghostface was the most fun when I had like batteries included and Machine Learning, like, and Play With Your Food was such a, oh my god, it was such an amazing time. And then that got nerfed, and then now it's like 7, and it's like, all right, I guess. Like, you barely even notice it at this point. It's kind of pathetic now. Which, speaking of, one of the #1 best perks for this character, I would say literally the #1 perk on this character has to be Play With Your Food. Play With Your Food literally is going to completely increase the lethality of Ghostface by such a mile that it's actually insane. Like, I mean, like, using Play With Your Food has allowed me to win a lot more consistently because speed is always going to help out this character. As you probably have noticed by what is like very strong on this character is chase, passive slowdowns, and haste perks. And these are all going to be very effective on him. Another selection I would say is quite good on him as well would actually be say Nemesis is good too. And the only reason I say that is because you're able to pair that with Play With Your Food. Now, by itself, Nemesis is like okay, but if you pair it with a perk like Play With Your Food, you get so much more value. That's why I have to rank it at the A. But it by itself is a B tier selection because they can become oblivious if you get stunned. So it could be okay, I guess. It's like a full minute. But it's better paired with with the play with your food combo. So that's recommended. Friends to the end. I used to run this a bit more on Ghostface because I used to like to hook the obsession, get more play with your food stacks. Now the problem is when you're juggling the obsession, you're just wasting a lot of time, and it's just not super effective to do that. So I would not recommend it. It makes it very stressful, and it's not something you want to do on a character that already struggles. Make your choice. Make your choice is definitely like decent on other characters, but not super effective on Ghostface. I would put it more in the D tier because of the fact that it's just simply kind of struggles very heavily to get a lot of value from it, because you have to be very far away from the hook to actually get value from make your choice. So yeah, it's not super great. Probably better on other characters with teleports, but this character doesn't have that, so not ideal there. Let's go ahead and talk about Call of Brine. Call of Brine. Call of Brine. Oh boy, my beloved. Probably drop you in the C tier probably. Yeah, it's okay. It's like 150 regression, I guess. I mean, sure, if you want it, you can have it. It's just not great. I gotta say, like, it's okay. All right, like 150% regression, but I would say B tier. It's good regression. It's not as useless as these other guys. Iron Grass, it's like D tier. Like, it's pointless pretty much. Dead Man's I would say is like B right now. Like, it used to be like around S to A, but now it's like B because 35 seconds is so low. Now I'm like like just you don't really need that. Oh yeah, Rapid Brutality is going in F tier, baby. Ooh boy. Rapid Brutality, I would argue, is one of the worst selections on Ghostface because it's just like you're using a perk that eliminates your bloodlust, and there's so many situations where I played this character with having bloodlust allowed me to get the down because of how strong some tiles are. And with palette like density as it is right now, like, you pretty much need to, like, if you can have them locked in and staying on one like filler palette and try to mind game it and just bloodlust your way in to get that down, do that, because like, you do not want them running across the map, getting to the next pallet, then having to break that, then getting to the next pallet, then having to break. Like, don't do it. Just don't run this. You want your bloodlust. You need your bloodlust. Use this on characters that have M2s that don't get bloodlust consistently, like Clown. Or you can use it on Freddy. You can use it on characters that have more use out of that, because bloodlust is kind of needed. Next we could talk about Lethal. Lethal, I'm gonna put you in the A tier for Lethal. Lethal is always an effective perk to have. I mean, nothing wrong with it. Pretty good. I mean, it goes without saying, it's aura. Like, but at the start of the game, it boosts your rest. Everybody knows that. Surge. Oh yeah, Surge is nice. Surge, I will put you in the A tier. I may not use Surge that much, but I acknowledge that it's quite a nice perk to have. I just don't use it that much because I prefer something that's more passive, that doesn't require me to down people in specific spots. Because with a character like this, I want to have as much flexibility as I can. So by bringing Surge, it's like I need to be right next to the gen, so that may not always happen. So I'm like, I want to have stuff that I know is going to always work every time. So Franklin's, I would drop into C tier. Like, I wouldn't say it completely died, but like, it's just like you can use it pretty well with Weave Attunement, which actually I want to find it. Weave Attunement as well, I would say, is not horrible on this character. Weave Attunement and Franklin's is an okay combo. I've seen other Ghostface players use it on occasion. I've used it. I thought it was okay because you have Undetectable and you can knock it out of their hands. A lot of the time they'll want to come back and pick it up, so then you can either get like a follow-up hit, or you can mark them, or get free info if they leave it there. So like, it can be quite effective, and it can kind of allow for some fun little like plays here and there if you can like kind of work around it. Languid touch is a little bit interesting. I would say kind of falls off though, because like I've stated, like exhaustion, applying exhaustion is like so pointless in the current meta. But even without that, I would say that there's just other perks that just have better use, and you most likely will get a lot more value from it. If I had, oh yeah, human greed, pointless. You're just, why would you even run that? Like it's just, there's no point in running something so pointless, I gotta say. Zanshin as well. Zanshin I think is also quite useless on this character. Because seeing pallets with Ghostface is not going to give you anything useful. And if they run away from the pallet and you get aura, like you're like, what is that going to do for you as a Ghostface? Like you're ready. If you're trying to stalk them anyway, you see them with your eyeballs, so like you don't need the aura to know that. So that's just not really that useful. But speaking of aura, I will say Gearhead is like I would put that in the B tier. Pretty good perk. In my all-seeing Ghostface build that I've put together a while ago, Gearhead was one of those perks that I've actually put on, because if you are like going up to people and getting an M1 who aren't exposed or anything like that, you'll be able to see where they are on the map, and you can kind of plan ahead and kind of go from there, which can be quite effective, especially because it's if they hit good skill checks, which they tend to get a lot of them anyway. So you'll get some pretty solid info throughout the game, and it can be quite useful. I wouldn't pick it over over like some of these other perks, obviously, but if you are running an aura build, it can be quite useful. Oh yeah, Merciless Storm, completely I don't know why. I could have sworn I saw somebody running Merciless. I was like, there is no way. Merciless Storm is so pointless on Ghostface. It's actually hilarious. Because like, if you're going against anybody who's gone against Merciless more than once, they're like, they usually hit every skill check without fail. Like there is literally no reason to use it. And the only other reason you'd ever put it on would be to stop them if you're fast enough, but Ghostface struggles with speed. So how are you gonna get them to block the gen by missing the skill check? I don't think that's really applicable. Let's see. Damn, there's so many perks to go. Holy smokes, there's so many perks to go. Hubris, I will put it in the C tier. It's like niche. Like you could probably pair it with Spirit Fury Enduring, and then, but you know, obviously I've used Spirit Fury Enduring and Hubris before, which like for a meme build, it was hilarious. Because like if they're exposed or not, like either I would mark them or I would use Hubris, and either way they were one shot. So I just thought it was hilarious. But it's not like something I'm gonna put on every day. But that's why I put it in C tier, because like it still makes them exposed and it's funny. That's not bad. Speaking of exposed, we have Haunted. Haunted, I would say, is like maybe more like a D tier. Like you can get value from it, sure, but like it's not something that I would like go around and say like, oh yeah, we gotta run Haunted on Ghostface now. It's meta. Like no, it's not. Like it's, you can get value if you really tried, but like it's still not great. Like, it's really not great. Beast, is this Beast of Prey? I don't remember what these Huntress perks are called half the time, but yeah, this one's just sucks as well. I think you get like Bloodlust, Undetectable in Bloodlust, or something like that. I already forgot, or whatever. Or it is Territorial Imperative. My bad. It has to do with like the basement. You're not gonna have basement Ghostface. Come on now. Knockout. Yeah, that perk is trash. That perk is trash on Ghostface. Let's see. Leverage is like, nah, it's like D tier. Slower healing is kind of irrelevant. Like you really don't need that on Ghostface at all. Monitor and Abuse though, put that in the B tier. Monitor and Abuse used to be a little bit better before the nerf, but you know, you could pair it with Ghostface's like crouching add-on that makes his tear radius decrease by 12 meters, and then you can put on Monitor and Abuse 24 meters, subtracting with the percentage that Monitor has, which is really annoying, but whatever. And then obviously you can have a pretty tiny tear radius when you're outside of your cloak, which is kind of fun. Can kind of help you set up for things. Haywire, useless. I'm gonna just burn through a few of these because a lot of these are pretty bad. Monster Shrine, terrible. Let's see what else. What else is a pretty terrible one? Unrelenting is like kind of like pointless. You don't even need that. I'm like, what? Like, it doesn't give you any value. If anything, it's nah. Whisper is kind of You don't really need that. Thrilling. Oh yeah, thrilling. I'm sorry. Thrilling is very bad on Ghostface. Yeah, I've seen people suggest it, but it's not a Ghostface perk. It comes with Ghostface, but it's not a Ghostface perk, like where it's like you can get value from it, because it blocks all the gens that are not being worked on, which is essentially just barbecue with extra steps, which is still not great because, like I've stated, with this character, you're very slow. So like even seeing what gen they're on, I'm like, that doesn't really guarantee you can stop them from finishing it. You have to zoom over there in such a quick amount of time to get value from it. It works better on Billy. It works better on characters that are just fast, and then he's just simply not fast. Dying Light is like D tier as well. Like you could probably get value, but it's just so reliant on getting hooks that I wouldn't recommend it on a character like this, because there's no guarantee that you can succeed every time. Rancor is kind of pointless on him. I mean, it makes them exposed, like the obsession exposed at the end game, but like Ghostface is not really an end game character. And having the info is fine, I guess, but like even then it's like only like for like a second because they scream. That's it. So like you don't really have much info from that. I don't know. I don't remember what this is called, but it has to do with skill checks and terror radius, and it's terrible. Let's see. Help Wanted is like kind of like a better save the best for last in a way, but it's still like pretty bad. I'm probably gonna put it in D tier because Help Wanted is only effective on like a handful of characters. You could pair it with save the best and machine learning and something else or something. I've tried, but you know, it's just better on characters that do require more than one hit to down, and Ghostface can just take one most of the time. So like I've said, but you can put it with machine learning. It could be okay, but I would say by itself, nah, like you're better off without. Terminus. Terminus is a little bit of a slightly better selection. If you, for whatever reason, end up in endgame, they will stay injured, which is nice. But it's not like super crazy. I wouldn't recommend it like all the way. Like it's just not going to, like, you're not gonna lose your mind over it. Let's see what else. Let's continue with No Way Out. I would say it's all right. No Way Out's okay. I'll probably put it in B tier because it's not like super amazing, but it can help out at the end game potentially. But Thwack is a it's not that crazy. I mean, it's like it gives you info, but it's not like that amazing where you're like lose your mind over it. Let's see. Unforeseen is kind of like pointless. I would say it doesn't sit in the D tier only because it applies your terror radius to the gen. So like it could at least maybe throw people off from your position, but it's still not great. It's not super good. All right, Superior Anatomy. So Superior Anatomy, I would say, is like an A tier selection. Maybe not S tier, but definitely an A tier selection because it does make your vaulting a lot faster, which can make you getting downs a lot quicker. I mean, that just goes without saying. It's pretty good. Nowhere to Hide. I'd put that in A tier. Pretty good selection. I mean, if you're kicking a gen, which you pretty much always have to do anyway with this character, unless you're running Surge, having info is good. I mean, especially when it's focused around the close range, that's gonna be very effective. Ultimate Weapon, pretty bad. It got nerfed like crazy, so you're pretty much not gonna get value from that. Oppression did get buffed recently, so I would raise it up to on Ghostface, more like a B tier. Like it can make other gens regress. It can hit other gens and make them have to hit a skill check. but I wouldn't say like it's going to like knock your socks off in terms of value, but it is going to be decent enough where you can get value from it. Pop. Ooh, Pop is another one that goes into B tier. Like Pop is one that is probably one of the weakest slowdowns in the game. Like if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the weakest slowdowns in the game. So like probably like one, yeah, like one of the weakest in the game. So like no. No. Nah. Eruption. Check out Eruption. Put an A tier. It's like, it's all right. 10% passive slowdown. If you get it down, it's not horrible. Let's see. Genetic limits. That's like more of a C tier. No, D tier. Actually, it makes them exhausted if you injure them. Trail of Torment. I put it in F tier. Like your power is literally undetectable. So like making a gen to give you undetectable, like it's kind of like why? Like you don't really need it like that badly. Pain res. It's like either for me. It's like either A or B. I'll put it in A just to be generous, but I would not consider it an S tier selection only because of hook placements. The fact that it does require you to get it down to get value, which can be very hard to do with a character like this. Like there can be situations where you just are going to struggle, and if you have pain res, it becomes a wasted slot compared to other perks that can give you more value just by existing, which is going to be a lot more effective. Spies from the Shadows. I mean, I'd say like a C tier option, not too crazy. Let's see what else. Tinkerer, I would say it's like it gives you info, I guess, and undetectable that you having to use it. So I'll put it in C tier. It's not completely terrible. Let's see. Floods of Rage. Floods of Rage is all right. I'll probably also put that in the C tier because like it can be effective, but I wouldn't like I've said, it doesn't like knock your socks off with value or anything. It's just like, all right, like you can be okay with using it and it's not going to like lose your mind. With how amazing it is. Hex 2 can play as a fun selection, but it's gonna go to the D tier because it's a totem, and also you just like with a weak killer you kind of need to run like slightly better stuff to get more value. So yeah, so that's just gonna have to sit there, unfortunately. And let's see, Gift of Pain. Gift of Pain is going into the D tier. Like I've stated many times, the anti-heal is just simply not that crazy, but yeah. All right, let's check it out. Let's see. The Wretched Fate. I think I forgot what that is called. Wretched Fate or something. I forgot. But pointless. Don't need it. I'm like, you give them hindered on M1s, but like I've said, it's the same thing with Save the Best and other perks where it's like, if you're taking one hit to down, the hindered won't matter. Plus, it takes like 8+ hits to get the down, and it's a totem. So like, it's just like in every situation that perk just falls flat. Jagged Compass by itself is okay. So it won't go into D tier, but it's still like, it still requires you to kind of give Scourges a little bit more value, which I would maybe would go to B tier, but we're gonna put it in C because by itself it's kind of like it's not that crazy. Ah yes, this is the I don't know if this is, I forget what perk this is. None are free. None are free. It's like a C. Like none are free. Like maybe you'll get value, but it's like it's at the end game, and it has like requirements of hooking everybody fresh, which isn't always feasible with a weak killer like this. So, like you're really not gonna like lose your mind. This one has to do with like healing and Oblivious, just F tier. Just kind of you're not gonna really get any use out of it. Yeah, Starstruck, arguably. I'm gonna be generous and say B tier because you can expose them with Starstruck and then you can go undetectable so they don't know which direction you're gonna come from. So it's deceptively good, but I wouldn't go out of my way to say it's like A tier by any means, because it's still very situational, and you have to dedicate a build to get like full value out of it. So that's why I kind of like lean a bit away from it. Now let's try to wrap up these last perks. Lightborn, I like Lightborn personally. I gotta say it's S tier in my opinion. It's just always useful. Why not? Thanatophobia is kind of F tier. I mean, no, wait, no, D tier. It's not completely bad where you will not get any value from it, but it's still pretty bad where it's like you're not really gonna notice it. Like it plus healing speed is crazy. Remember me, you can get value from pretty easily, so it's not bad. I'll put it in B tier. Making the gate also open slower, I mean, that's definitely not a problem. So not bad at all. All right, let's see. Next, ooh, I want to talk about this perk. I like this perk. This perk is nice. I forgot what it's called. It's like undone or I think it's called undone. But getting haste after you hit somebody and then you vault, like that's not horrible. I mean, I might push it down to B though because of how situational it can be. But if you get it to work, it's nice. It can be very helpful. So not too bad. The Crosshoo's perks are usually are all very bad, so I'm just gonna put them all into the F tier. Because when I read the description for these, like they all were just completely pointless on Ghostface. If you are curious to know the specifics, I mean, you could just read the perks descriptions and you might see how pointless they really are, unfortunately. Furtive Chase, I would say, is like a B. Like haste is always good on him. Undetectable is all right, I guess. But it's like if you pair with like other perks, it could be a little bit stronger. But obviously by itself, it's not going to gain the most amount of value in the world. So that's why I put it in B, because it's okay. Like you can put it on and you'll get some value from it. Like it's definitely not terrible. Let's see, Devour. Like Devour is a perk where I'm gonna put it in C, because if you decide to put it on, it's a risk, right? Because you might end up not ever getting value, but if you do, you don't have to, you can just mark, you can just basically have everybody one shot without marking. You could get a little bit of haste that could help you out sometimes, but it's also a totem, so like the strength of Devour is so good, but like at the same time it's like so like niche that I'm like, I don't know, I might have to bump it down to D just because of that, because it's still a totem, so it's like it's like I don't know. Like, I don't know about that one. Noed is like I would say it's like a C. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to get to endgame with Ghostface because he has nothing for that. But if for whatever reason you end up with an endgame and you're like, I need to get this guy down quickly, Noed could just help you out for that extra down, you know, so that could help. It's still a totem, so it's probably gonna get cleansed immediately, but still, it's not horrible. Pentimento, arguably, it used to be S tier in my opinion. I would bump it down to about A currently. I'm not a fan of it, but if you do run totems, it would be nice to have an option for when they break them, because they will, like, you know that they will, and it's just nice to have the option to have some slowdown. So it's like, okay, you know, you could just slap it on, it's not gonna hurt. It's pretty good for what it does. This perk, Plaything is fantastic with this, especially with Ghostface, because you're giving them a side objective, you're making them oblivious so you don't have to be cloaked to find them. And on top of that, if they break it by any means, then you also can pair it with Pentimento, and then you can have that extra slowdown for you, which is pretty good because the gens are pretty fast, so having slowdown is just always going to be good for you. Now Ruin has gotten buffed. I still don't think it's super fantastic, so I'll put it in B tier, but it's still good enough where you're like, oh well, you know, you could run it and it's all right, you know, it's not gonna like another one that doesn't really knock your socks off, but it'll be all right. Infection's Fright is like all right, like you can get that down and they yell or whatever, but you know, it's like you're still Ghostface. It's not like you're gonna like zoom over there and get a one shot off. Like you still have to mark them usually, so you don't have a lot of time to do that, especially if they're downed. Overcharge is, I'll put it with Call of Brine, where it's like, all right, like B tier, you have a little bit of some little something, not too crazy. And Predator is all right, I guess. I'll probably put it in C because it's kind of niche. I wouldn't say that you're gonna like get a lot of value from that entirely. Next is the Septic Touch. Nah. And I like this perk personally. I put it in A tier. Keep it fair. So that is all the perks for you here. The S tiers being Play with Your Food, Coup de Grace, Corrupt Intervention, Batteries included, and Deadlock, and then Lightborn is just because it's funny. And of course, the other perks here as well. These are also really fantastic selections. B tier kind of showing off like okay options, not like they're gonna like, you know, lose. You're not gonna really lose your mind over the value, but they're all right. C tier kind of leaning more into kind of niche perks and builds where it's like, well, like you're probably not gonna really get a lot out of it. Arguably Agitation should kind of move up, but you can kind of move Agi between B and C, like, because I wouldn't say it's all the way in A, but Agi is okay. The rest, I would say these are just mostly all useless, going to the bottom as pointless for the characters. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. I know this is a bit of a long yap session, but I wanted to cover every perk I can get my hands on in this situation, and just kind of give you guys a little bit of an explanation for each perk. So hopefully it can answer your guys questions on what perks you think are going to be the best. And I'll try to also include an image at the end. So yeah, that is going to be the tier list for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube things for me. And I will see you guys in the next one. And stay tuned for my members as well. Well, I wanted to go ahead and take some time out to thank all my members from Patreon with Crow King 101, my YouTube members, Majora Jeff, Endire, Evil Peachy YT, Zero Mocker, Christian, Hexdev, and Crow Vader, and for my Twitch subscribers, Cake is the Road, Danica 2002, Final Girl _Bunny, Acklefin, Chili Cinderace, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Johns 117 _ Lovely Ghost TTV, Jar TTV, Zazaboo, and Crow Vader. Just wanted to thank you guys. And if you also want to have your name read off at the end of every video, make sure you join on one of these platforms to get one of those perks, as well as the other perks you get. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.